Jay, and welcome to the Sexy Armpit Show. We've got a big show for you as we bring you... Oh, and Sludgey is here too.
Not good enough to get mentioned in your introduction, I see.
Hey, be happy that I actually put you on YouTube. Don't forget what happened in 1996's Project Alf. Remember how the alien task force got him?
Well, it's a damn good thing I'm not an alien.
Yeah, but looking like that, you could easily be mistaken for one.
And there's no way you'll be mistaken for an actual host unless you tell everyone what's on the show tonight.
As much as I want to dump you into the sewer right now, you do have a point. Tonight on the Sexy Armpit Show, it's a very Sammi Curristmas. It's Christmas time, and in this installment of the Sexy Armpit Show, it's not going to be about Christmas at all. In honor of its 30th anniversary, tonight's show is all about one of my favorite movies of all time, and my Halloween obsession, 1986's Trick or Treat, starring none other than rock's chosen warrior, Sammi Curr.
Why are you talking about a Halloween movie for Christmas?
Better question is, why are you talking? It's my show. You know what? All right, let's get into it. I first saw Trick or Treat when it hit VHS as a kid, and ever since then I've been completely wrapped up in it. It's all about Eddie Weinbauer being haunted by the ghost of his rock icon, Sammi Curr. Okay, if you promise to behave, I'll take the bag off, you little whiny slime ball.
I'm placing you under citizen's arrest. I'm gonna text your crush, Vivian Beechwood, and tell her that you're being indicted for cruelty against piles of sludge.
Oh, you haven't seen nothing yet. Sammi Curr is constantly referenced in our Halloween specials.
You basically let a heavy metal demon possess you every Halloween.
That's not all he does to me. All of our Halloween specials are available right now to watch on YouTube. Here we have me modeling t-shirts Bret Hitman Hart style. Here's a postcard from a showing of Trick or Treat sent in from Chad from Horror Movie Barbecue. Art by Patrick Courtcamp. Art by Sammy Hain. Art by Isaac Keith Martinez of Isaac's Haunted Beard. And a limited edition pin from the Say You Love Satan podcast. And I even made up a Trick or Treat menu on the Nerd Lunch podcast. These are various DVD and VHS releases of Trick or Treat. So, Sludgey, what do you want for Christmas?
A milkshake.
Seriously? That's all you want for Christmas?
Yeah, but I'm lactose intolerant. Actually, I don't really want one. I just want to sing. My milkshake brings other girls to the armpit. Damn right, it's better than yours.
Well, I can't really argue with that.
What do you want for Christmas?
Well, there's only one thing that I want. One piece left to make my Trick or Treat collection complete.
Oh, yeah? What's that? Sammi Curr's unwashed black spandex pants, you sick fuck? Or maybe his half-used can of Aquanet?
All good ideas, but the one thing missing from my collection is a Sammi Curr action figure.
Well, did you happen to notice the gift under the tree? Is that for me?
A gift under the tree? What are you talking about? I didn't even go Christmas shopping yet. See, what could this be? Well, it says Amazon.com on it. Let's see. Hi, Jay. Well, this was originally going to be a Halloween gift, but now it looks like an early Christmas present. Remember, be loyal to your heroes. Tyler. It's a Sammi Curr action figure. Holy shit. Well, this has been a very Sammi Curristmas. Thanks for joining us, everybody.
A Sammi Curristmas to all, and to all a good night.
You know what, Sludge? You did such a good job tonight that I have something for you. Got you a milkshake.
Thanks, Jay.
You better stand up. You better be counted. Sammi Curr is coming to town.
I saw Mommy kissing Sammi Curr.
Hey, Tyler, how's it going, man?
Hey, good, Jay.
So we have Tyler Ham from California, an art director and one of our online friends. And I am holding in my hand right now a actual real-life Sammi Curr action figure. And this is the man who created it for me. And I have to thank you so much for doing this, man. You have no idea how unbelievably cool this is, because I have wanted one for so long, and it completes my collection of Trick or Treat and Sammi Curr memorabilia. So thank you so much.
No, I was happy to do it, and I have to thank you, because if it wasn't for you, I probably would have never even seen the movie.
Oh, that's awesome.
So this is my way of giving back to the person who brought Sammi Curr and Skippy into my life every Halloween.
Skippy Handelman.
I can't even remember what his name is in the movie, because he's always going to be Skippy.
Yeah, he's Eddie Weinbauer, but yeah, he'll always be Skippy to all of us.
Yeah.
What actually sparked you to do this? Like, I know you said you knew that I was interested in having something like this, but what was there a story behind that, or what led up to you saying I'm going to make a Sammi Curr action figure?
It was it wasn't really a traditional approach to when I usually do custom figures, because I have a background in toy design as well.
Mm-hmm.
And so I have designed some Mego figures. None of them went into production, but
mm-hmm.
I designed a bunch, and I prototyped several just as kind of proof of concept.
Mm-hmm.
I've made a couple just for characters that I've liked. I know you've seen the Thriller Werecat that I designed.
Yeah, that's phenomenal.
But I guess the first kind of spawning of it was listening to your bonus episode, where you'd said that you really wanted someone to make a custom.
Right, on the Purple Stuff podcast, right.
Yeah, yeah. And I was going for a run, and just the toy designer in me kind of just thought of that. I said, God, that wouldn't be... Because I knew Mego had done all this Kiss stuff.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, that should be easy to kind of cross over. You just need a head. And it just kind of got me thinking about it that way. And then what actually made me start doing it was we had my wife and daughter and I had kind of an event happen. And I don't want to over dramatize it, but I also don't really want to talk about it. But it put us all in like a really bad place.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was just in a bad mood. And sometimes to get out of these bad moods, I'll just start a new project.
Uh-huh.
And much like how Skippy, I guess I should say Eddie, used the ghost of Sammi Curr to get vengeance on his enemies. I think a part of me subconsciously thought, maybe if I sculpt Sammi Curr, I can use the vengeful spirit to get revenge on the people who have smited us.
Yeah, so you sprung into action, and you created him out of nothing. This is so amazing. It definitely could be like an actual Mego version of Sammi Curr, which is awesome. So I definitely see the inspiration there. What kind of things go into it? Is it a matter of, well, I'm going to take, like you said, a piece from this Kiss doll or a piece from this, or because I know you mentioned the whole head had to be sculpted yourself and created out of nowhere.
Yeah, it's basically I'm a digital sculptor,
mm-hmm.
So I did a face sculpt digitally
Mm-hmm.
and had that 3D printed. And I decided to do the hair because the hair is such a mass.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, it was just a matter of funding, basically,
Yeah.
because when you 3D print something in a higher definition, they charge you by the cubic centimeter of
Mm-hmm.
material.
Right.
And since the head or the face was the most detailed piece, it didn't really make sense to pay to. I mean, the hair itself is like 5 times the volume of the entire head.
Right. So I owe you for the hair $35,000 is what you're saying.
Somewhere around there.
Yeah.
The face, like $25.
Yeah.
The hair, like we're talking a small car.
This is beautiful hair, by the way. And
Thank you.
representative of the 80s. Did you have big hair in the 80s?
I had a He-Man-esque bowl cut. It was big. It wasn't like that big,
Yeah.
but it was good size.
Sizable. Okay. So now you're an art director. How did some of your professional life play into doing this? Because I know you said you've designed toys. You've done a lot of interesting things just from our own conversations, online and stuff like that. I think everybody watching would be very interested to hear some of these cool things that you've done if they're not aware yet.
Sure. I actually started my career as a visual effects artist, working for films, and I did that for about 15 years. And I just in fact went back to the industry to work on Rogue One a little bit.
Star Wars Rogue One, which just came out, was phenomenal. Great job, by the way. Did a great job.
I loved it.
Yeah.
So I started in film, then I went into feature animation. And while I was doing some feature animation, I was working on the last Madagascar movie at DreamWorks.
Cool.
A friend of mine had started a toy company, or he was the creative director and kind of co-founder of a small toy company. And we went out to grab a bite to eat, and he was saying, he wanted to do a replica of the creature from the Black Lagoon's fossil hand. And he's like, no one can do it. I can't find a sculptor who wants to do this job. And he was like, well, can you sculpt? And I'm a big Creature from the Black Lagoon fan. And I was like, yeah, I can sculpt. I'd never sculpted anything before in my life. But I just really wanted to do this.
Yeah.
And so, I went home, taught myself digital sculpting. I had a little experience with 3D modeling just from being a 3D artist for over a decade at that point.
Yeah.
And so, I taught myself to sculpt, and it all went from there. I eventually became the art director at that company. And that's where I started doing the Mego stuff, because that's when Mego kind of was doing had kind of a strong revival for a couple of years.
Right.
And a lot of companies were doing them.
You're talking about Mego. While we're on it again, I have a question for you. So now the debated question goes on forever. It's dolls or action figures, right? The way I've always seen it is, it's a doll if it has real hair, and a lot of people disagree with me, but that's my theory. How do you feel about the dolls versus action figures debate?
Like with the vintage Star Wars 12-inch line is one where that comes in a lot, where that's, for some reason, those are dolls, but the 3 3/4 are action figures. Yeah. Even though, like, just the Leia actually feels like a doll. And you're right, it's because it has the real hair, it comes with a brush. Yeah. It's probably, mostly accessory based. Yeah. But you know which one actually drives me the most nuts out of all that? And this isn't really a good answer, but when people call them figurines.
Oh, I hate that too.
I hate that. I'm like, I will happily call myself a doll collector. Everything in my office, you can call a doll, as long as I don't have to call it a figurine. Yeah,
so I totally agree with that. And, especially if it comes with a brush, it's definitely a doll. But I think if someone was to call a 3 3/4 action figure a doll, that's where I draw the line. I'm like, no, that's not a doll. Yeah. Looking at this magnificent Sammi Curr action figure, what a great job. And it really does, like I said, complete my collection of Trick or Treat memorabilia. And, as you know, I'm a total freak for that movie. So, how do you feel about the film though? Like after you finally watched it, what was your opinion on the movie?
Well, it's funny because hearing you talk about it a lot on the podcast, and it's weird, and I'm sure you've gotten this now that you guys have been doing this for a while. Yeah. And when you first started talking about it, it sounded so absurd, and it sounded just like one of those like a guilty pleasure movie almost. Like you're talking, and like I've had experience with guilty pleasure movies, and they're not always like the best movies. And so I was like, it sounds like it's a fun movie. I'll watch it one day.
Yeah.
I just kept hearing you talk about it, and so I was like, I gotta watch this. And then I watched it, and I kept thinking like, God, how come I've never seen this before?
Yeah.
It's such a good Halloween movie.
It really
is. Yeah, I mean, it's scary. It's funny.
Yeah.
Sammi Curr is he's a formidable 80s horror bad guy.
Yeah, he
and,
really is.
All that stuff with like Ozzy Osbourne's in it.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of good cameos.
Yeah, Gene Simmons as Nuke, the DJ, which is so cool. It holds up better than I think a lot of people thought it would. Well, I gotta say, this is like the best Christmas present like of all time. So I gotta say thank you again. Tell everybody where they could find you on Twitter and Instagram.
I post mostly to Instagram, and that's just at HamFX.
Mm-hmm.
And I wasn't fast enough to get HamFX on Twitter. So I had to do ham_FX. But everything's available at tylerham.com. So you can always find me there and just branch out if you really want to get in touch.
Okay, cool. And you spotlight all the work that you've done?
Yeah, I have a site that has photos of everything. Some of the stuff that kind of has just a more interesting backstory, or is more of a personal project that really wasn't work related. I have a blog attached, and I kind of write out why I did it, and sometimes I'll write about my old Halloween costumes on there. So it's kind of a mishmash of things.
That's cool. Yeah, that's awesome. So very good to talk to you, Tyler, and thanks again. Hope you have a Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
So we've got a big show for you as we bring you... All right, no more hats.
Sexy armpit, sexy armpit.
Ooh, juicy.